Okay. All right. There we go. All right. All righty. I'm trying to wait for Kyoko. I don't want her to have technical difficulties while we're already in the middle of it. She's a little bit further down the reading, so hopefully she's okay. I don't want to get started too late. Okay, it's 7:03. Welcome to the Literary Cypher, y'all. It is March 15th, Pisces season all day. I wanted to do something. We've been doing a whole lot of all-female lineups, but I definitely want to do an all-female lineup for my birthday month and for International Women's Month, so we can show up and show out like we always do, ladies. If everyone could please go ahead and mute their mics so we can be respectful of all the readers in this space. Readers, if you could do me a favor, when you finish reading or even before you start reading, go ahead and put your links and all your info, your social media handles, everything in the chat so we can follow you and support you and all that good stuff. If while everybody's reading, if they hit a line that resonates with you, blow them up in the chat, put it in the chat. Let's go off, and it's always real good after you finish reading to go back into the chat and see how everyone was feeling you and stuff. So yeah, blow them up, hype them up. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and change my view real quick because I like to be able to see everyone. And we're gonna try what we did last month with each reader. I'm gonna pin them because I always say I'm not the tech savvy writer, but we're gonna try something fancy. I know pinning's not fancy to everybody, but it's fancy to me, so I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. All right, let's see. We are recording and just confirming that, yes, she's in here. There's Kyoko. All righty. So if everyone could put themselves on mute. Mute. All right, so we can eliminate all the background noise. All right, we have a few more people trying to get in. Looks like we got some little... Okay. There we go. All right, y'all, bear with me. All righty. So let me get my screen. There we go. Hold on one second, everyone. I'm just making sure. Someone's having a little issue here, so I just want to make sure they're okay before we get started. All right. Everybody good? All right, are you fine? You're okay, she's fine. All right. So I don't know if anybody saw a couple of posts. We were discussing health and stuff last month. I had a couple of little health scares. 2022 came in swinging on me, and I spent the first couple of months just back and forth in the ER trying to figure out what was going on. So while I was in there, I was just writing, and so this first poem is it's about death. So it's called The Hospital Visitor. So I want to read that one. Okay. All right. Hospital Visitor. This bitch tried to take me away from here. Away from good old planet Earth. Away from this plane. Dressed to kill in a money green Prada pantsuit, red bottoms with spiked heels and historic abysmal eyes that called me coward. She tried to pull me away from a star-scattered black sky and pluck my body from the weightless embrace of frigid air beneath, separating me from this breathing skin and present hope. That bitch, when she comes knocking, people answer, and she saunters in, making herself comfortable, strutting a victory lap, sipping blood and rum from her golden chalice, propping her feet up till she's done, unless you're done first. Then she just gulps her purgatory cocktail and lingers as it burns its way down. Glancing at Hale's Rolex on Universal Time, she says, "Let's go." And you're gone. But not me. Not this time. I remind her, I'm part Betty Rose, part Lola May, part Della, part Mamie, all living water, ancestral earth, part Cameroon, part Ireland, part indigenous, all Southern, all Black, all nuck if you buck, zero doormat. Even she who commands the release of life from unwilling bodies can catch these soil-loving hands. Strolling up here today to stake claim on the rest of my tomorrows. I got things to do. I got kids. I got a man, maybe a girlfriend too, and I've got dreams. Still got some living, scores to settle, millions to make, more trying, more failing, more fucking, more friending, more drinking and be marrying. I know you've heard it all before, but I'm dead ass serious. No pun intended. For real. If you want me, sis, you're going to have to try harder, aim higher, and I'm talking Jupiter high, because I ain't leaving yet. I know it's not my time, because if it was, Grandma would have come to get me instead of you. She promised to return, and I believe her. Death is no liar, nor slave to time, only envy, longing, and desire to walk in the soiled skin of the living, if even only for a moment. To breathe, wrap herself in the promise of the next breath and the possibility of the one after. It drives her to seek the weak and circle with ominous intent and loathsome vulturous eyes. She perches on the nearest high place to wait, relishing the moments of unfinished forevers. Last words, nearly last breaths, she claims what is final because that's her lane, her curse, bound to a never-ending assignment of ushering others to end of theirs. Everything is sweeter with an expiration date. The things that don't last are the most valuable. That which is finite is more precious. Death's only pleasure is knowing what we don't, when we end. She doesn't want the prepared, those who are ready to submit to her call, at times beckoning her to their bedside after all the words have been said, conscience clearing, confessions spoken, soul bearing secrets spilled, peace made, soul bearing secrets, will signed, papers in order, going quietly and willingly. Those are the boring days at work, where she yawns in disinterest and props up her feet. No, she wants us kicking and screaming, having taken the contents contained in the dash between start and end dates for granted, unfulfilled, wanting more, nearly desperate for more, one more day, one more hour, one more breath. She tethers herself to the consciousness and burns into the fractured memories as they wildly sift through, searching for those defining moments when they made it all count. What could have been here in this life? What was? Remember most? That white light down that dark hall? Fear mistakenly calling to her like a cub to Mama Bear, and she can smell it a million light years away. She shakes her head in delayed defeat, looking at me with a seething glare reserved for the ones that get away. Next time. And when you least expect it. Her crimson lips fold into a smirk. I put on my pearls and smiled back. Yeah, next time, bitch. That's the end of that one. Let me see. I need someone checking my own time. It's supposed to be 7 minutes for me too. Let me see. And then I'll read my last one, my one more. Let me let these people in from the waiting room. And I'll read my last one real quick. Let me make sure they come in muted. All right. This is my last one. In addition to being sick, I was a little homesick as well. I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina, born and raised, and educated in Greensboro, North Carolina. So I have a kind of a juxtaposed love for the South, as anyone can probably imagine. This one's called Southern Gal. Okay. Down home, down in the dirty South. Former plantations, tobacco spread across open fields, down dirt roads, lined with magnolia trees, the smell of honeysuckle, warm red clay, and pine, swirling and dancing in the humid air. Abandoned dirt-packed floor shacks in the backwoods, where my ancestors laid their weary promised land vision-filled heads, hearts longing for the possibility of freedom found up north, struggling as they strive to keep hope alive, to survive another day in the heat of a relentless sun, faces turned up toward the promise of heaven, Cotton white clouds against rapture blue skies, sweat against furrowed brows, whips on backs, carrying both the weight of oppression, purpose, and hope, singing songs of liberation, voices the sounds of blackness, riding on the sobering, stale southern wind, down home, down south, the birth of a nation, the birth of trap music, slow and lazy drawled greetings, geechee tongues chopping up words, smashing new ones together, like cream corn and boiled potatoes with butter, an antebellum remix, southern hospitality, friendly hey y'alls, and invitations to gatherings of shared meals and storytelling over fresh brewed sweet tea, the liquid amber hallelujah, and golden fried chicken to save your soul, chitlins and pig feet for the unbothered. That all been good as black folk. Who said they don't eat pork? Grandma would say. Don't come back from college vegetarian. We eat all things that squawk, crawl, and scurry down here. In the spirit of hoe cakes with candied yams, fried okra, and chow chow topped collard greens with fat back, making backsides so fat you can see them from the front. Wait till you see them from the back. Fluffy as pound cakes, blessed, thick, I'm somebody mama hips that whine, rock, and back up on anxious crotches in dark juke joint corners, making country boys wishful and thirsty. Pistol toting, shotgun shooting, axe throwing country girls drinking Southern Comfort, Parmesan, Jack Daniels, and E&J. We like our liquor dark, like our past. Spinning sunflower seeds off the porch with marksman precision, walking barefoot over dusted parking lot lawns to the mailbox, skin glistening in the hot box that is the South, hot like Texas Pete hot sauce on catfish fritters fresh out the grease hot like summer 97 dressed in Daisy Dukes, wife beaters, and Carolina blue Nikes freshman year on the yard at North Carolina A&T hot like Freaknik hot like red bones with red hair, red nails, and red lips talking shit hot like standing on the corner by the stop sign 2 blocks from hell hot, a forever layer of moisture covering all, saturating all clothing, all material till it sticks and stays. Everyone sweaty, shiny, shimmery, sexy, baking like sweet dumplings. Down here, all skin folk are somebody's cousin, and all kin folk know blood is thicker than water. Mama and them, daddy and them, grandma and them. We all know them. We'll see them at church, then at grandma's house after for Sunday dinner. We'll break bread, pray together, eat together, argue. Then eat some more, pray some more. That's what family is for. We got to stick together. Being black is hard enough. It's even harder down south. The South doesn't forget. It holds fast to the ways of old, antiquated and outdated, stubborn as the kazoo that spreads across the unoccupied and unclaimed, out of control, doing what it wants, disregarding the world around, but resilient, bold, beautiful, anchored and ancient as the roots of the angel oak tree, stretching further than the eyes can see, reaching far and wide, whispering words of wooded wisdom, ancestral voices beckoning its children to come home down south. All righty. Now see if I can remove the pen off of myself. All right, there we go. And next up we have Angelique.
Can you hear me? Awesome. I can't hear you now, but that's all right because you're muted. My name is Angelique Palmer, and I'm a poet that lives in Northern Virginia, but I'm from down south too. I'm from New Orleans. This is my book. It's called Also Dark. The cover art is by Terry Meredith. She's from down south too, from the bottom, and South Florida. Miami, actually, she's up in Palm Beach area. And this book came out in November, and I am really proud of it. So I'm going to read a couple of poems from it and then a couple of poems from my old book, but they're all short. Just hang with me. It's going to be great. Awesome. Let's start sad. We'll do that. This is called In the Time of Corona, Alone. There's a breath I save for exhaling, a pain my brain is determined to relive, and if possible, make worse in each reliving. There's an energy I say for pep talks I have to give myself on the days it is difficult to motivate my limbs toward production. There's a pure and uncut loneliness I save for staring at the full moon. There's gravity I save for when I can spend it all day in bed. There's love. Yes, people love me, tell me so all the time. I need to hear it. I need to hear it more. And there aren't enough full moons and too many pep talks since April. Since April began, I've watched my savings drain, bottom out. A friend asks, do I need anything? I say, no. I don't say I'm in the red. I tell a lie called fine. I breathe, move, busy my hands, wait for the full moon. So here's another poem about the moon, and it's called Unbecoming an Eclipse. So a lot of these poems are in conversation with themselves. They're talking to midnight about becoming morning. It's like the birds when they talk to each other first thing in the morning. They say, you know, hey, I made it. Did you make it? I made it too. That's what these poems do. On becoming an eclipse, in which I, a poet of a certain skill level, interrogates imposter syndrome. And maybe I can appreciate their existence without them appreciating my own. But they are doing what I want to do, and better than I'm doing it. And resentment makes admiration a viscous pile of waste. Looking out the window is the worst sort of mirror. This isn't about loving something, it's about possessing it. The fear that you will have nothing makes you hold on to the wrong thing. Once you swallowed the moon whole. Another time you nibbled it down bite by bite. Another time still, you leaned your tongue out, flipped the full moon into your ready mouth, genuflected, and refused the sacrificial wine. You could not tell the difference. You became a myth or an eclipse. The caution good parents give to their babies. Someone said fraud, and she answered to it shamefully. Watch the sky suffer too many long nights without shine. Who does that? And then you realize that every time you said you meant I. You've been doing that to your eye the whole time. I've had to learn to taste the difference. No one can tell my story better than I can. So I parted my lips, and the lilt of pale fell, a shy beam, but stronger with each octave I sung, and braver still, I crooned myself a shave of incandescence. Anyone can fall in love to pianoforte now. And long until I pulled the moon from my belly, I became the once dark eclipse, choosing to move out of the shadows or out of her own way into my very own sky. Thank you. This is called The Mess Your Pain Made. And then I promise we're going to get happier from here. Promise. Okay. Welcome. I should say this as a precursor to this poem. I am in recovery 17 years, nothing in my body that's going to make my body bad, and nothing that's going to turn me into a bad person in front of you. I don't know people that used to drink with me. How about that? So you probably don't know me that way either. So this was written about that time. Welcome. It's your first day. The underbelly of your faith learned too quickly the sickliness of doom. You've become the slow maple accident across your family room's table. You have no choice, really, none. We all came here for the same things, but we just call them by different names, Mama. We call them children, help me, deity, career. But I know you know. I know that. You can strip the alien from their vocal cords and hear them saying, live, live, breathe, live. Welcome to week 2. The thorax you were born with wants reanimation, begs to be animal again, while the flame you've been hiding far away from your darkness demands to be seen. So now you're a runway full of haute couture. No one will understand for 3 seasons. Go ahead and wear that shit anyway. You're unique, terminal with it, just like everyone else. So I beg you, go ahead and be you. Welcome to week 3. When your sister brings the 1-pound bag of M&Ms, you scream threats at the handsy trans girl schizophrenic who thinks your ass is a lunchline share toy. There's the spine, huh? There's the spine, the one you haven't turned the corner to since they built an expressway to your throat. Since the practice became drinking your torture onto a nap mat, even if it wakes up cranky. Since before this, let there be, smack the shit out of your primordial ooze. Did you think we didn't know? We all know. Welcome to week 4. When you who does not cry, monsoons. When you who does not peel, sheds. When you who has not cracked, pulverizes, powders down, and blows away. Now you realize this thing has teeth and you have bite marks. Everyone loves their wounds into scar babies, mama. Everyone keeps a mop for the gush of reopened conduits. If you got time to lean, you got time to get your life right, right? What kind of citizen of humanness doesn't want to clean up the mess their pain made? How much better than them are you? Welcome. It's discharge day. When you finally learn that you have to be above apologies, I'm sorry simply will not work with your new wardrobe. Everyone here on this planet came for the same thing. Everyone will deserve it. Not everyone will get it. Some of them will die wanting the gift you are getting to live. So you owe that to them. To breathe, to live, to live. You owe that shit to yourself. Thank you for your time and thank you for asking me. These are my 2 books. If you want them, the information's in the chat.
Yes, get those books. That was fire, Angelique. Thank you, sis.
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? There we go. I was talking and muted. I was saying, go get Angelique's books. Thank you, sis. That was fire. And I was warning y'all about my fumble with the pen, but I did it. Up next, we have Serena. There we go.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. And hello, everyone. Blessings, blessings. I actually I'm within the DMV area. I live in Northern Virginia, in Alexandria, Virginia, but I am a Northerner. I'm originally from Jamaica, Queens, New York. So if you hear the accent fly out, that's where I'm from. So I am actually going to read, hey neighbor, I'm going to read this first poem from, this is actually my third published book. It came out smack before the pandemic in December of 2019. And it's called The Awakening, Piece of Life, Volume 2. And all my books and anything you hear can be found on my website, which is in the chat, serenawills.com. And I hope that all of you will feel awakened and free after this poem. Fresh grass growing beneath my feet, flowers blooming, morning dew tickling me, cherry blossoms in their fullness. Awake from a hard winter, animals once again mates out from hibernation. I've been trapped for too long, yearning to escape like the flying birds above, soaring high as clouds, spring breeze swirling, honeybees buzzing, ladybugs crawling, welcoming a new season. refreshed and renewed, Mother Nature calling me personally, evolution of me, I live again, awakened. So that's Awakened. It's from The Awakening. And this book is Peace of Life Volume 2. The very first one was Reconstruction, Peace of Life Volume 1. And this book basically talks about what a person goes through when they're healing and how life does not stop when you're healing. Healing is painful, it's a journey, but all in all, we have to still keep moving forward. So I actually end my poetry book with the awakening after going through so much. There is this rebirth that is happening during the painful moments of healing. And I know we've all been there, done that. We've all been in painful situations. And in order to heal, sometimes you have to revisit those painful moments just so you can heal. So that is from The Awakening, Piece of Life, Volume 2. And thank y'all for the love in the chat. So this next poem is called Artist Paradise. This is the remix for Women's History Month. This is going to come out actually in my fourth published poetry book coming out this summer, which is called Artist Paradise, Pieces of Life, Volume 3. And again, this is dedicated to my sisters. Guitar strumming, like stroking paint across a blank canvas, wicked beats that go up and down as an artist vigorously throws her heart and soul into a sketch. Blissfully blowing passion, accenting, adding intricate detail, similar to Jill Scott or India R.E. blessing their song with the finishing touches to a masterpiece. Octaves raising like Marian Anderson, jamming to a sister singing Nina Simone, lyrics compiling that crazy diabolical poem that reaches the Capitol steps through the voice of Amanda Gorman. Dancing like Misty Copeland as my arms flay like a paintbrush. Feet glide like fingers across guitar strings with the fierceness of a spoken word artist. Theatrical power like Ruby Dee, Angela Bassett, or Viola Davis. This is pure artistry, capturing a crowd or a lover with the glare of your eyes, before diving into that one last line, stroke, step, tune, in another world playing as if you are the only one in the room, painting as if Faith Ringgold is right beside you, leaping across the stage as the great Judith Jameson depicts my creative eclectic side, drums beating louder like a Sheila E. jam session, horns blowing, energy rising, bobbing heads to the musicology of your biology called song, slamming, spitting verses like the great Nikki Giovanni, the depth of Sonia Sanchez's voice with Maya Angelou's breath. Photography capturing memories and moments through the eye of the late Florestine Collins. Everlasting still shots of time, dedicating this piece to the sound of artists, my sisters who artistically have blessed the masses, no matter what shape or form, medium or genre, amateur or pro, glowing when I hit the mic, pouring everything internally, delivering sound of imaginative creativity, instinctively living in an artist's paradise, fluidly. Thank you all very much. So that is the remix. There's an original, but the remix, I actually just did it last week for another recording, and it's the last poem I'm adding to this book. I swear I'm done with this book. So it's coming out hopefully by August, late August 2022. I'm about to ship it off to the editor, so y'all wish me luck, wish me well. I think I'm within my time frames. This is my last poem. This has not been published yet. I don't know what book this is going to be in, but this is titled The Nubian Woman. Since we're in Women's History Month, last week was International Women's Day, let's just go on with the theme and honor our women. Blood that flows as strong as the Nile River and ancient Kemet. A personality is as rare as a four-leaf clover in a grassy meadow. Hair like lamb's wool, standing as tall and strong like the pyramids, describes a strong Nubian woman. A person that can be as calm as a lake and can handle the grand rapids in the Midwest. Physique like no other. Jeans always fit right, filling out all spots from left to right. Caramel complexion standing as tall as some of these brothers, that has gained wisdom from her aunts, uncles, grandparents, and mother, with intelligence and common sense to stand her own ground and beat you with her wits. Beautiful as a queen, but will go out to battle with the warriors. With the spirit of Shango and the womanly wise of Oshun, don't be afraid of this diamond who learns from her past to build for the future. The strong Nubian woman who will nurture others, teach knowledge, and learn from her elders. Do not be afraid to be this woman, to be with this woman who is proud and encouraging, someone who will lead you through the valley and take you to the hilltop, who can cook, clean, work, repair, volunteer, and write, and yet be a mother, lover, sister, and wife. Do not be intimidated by her strong presence and appearance. Love her, caress her, be with her, feel her, and hold her. Stroke her mind, feed her continuous knowledge. Do not renege or dare take advantage, for she is a queen, a woman who will stand by you when you are down, encourage you, and even when you are broke, my brothers, she will still love you for you. Hear her lyrics and find poetry and come to realize that this can be meant to be. Be a friend before a lover, and do not dare step to her like these others. She sees you as her strong Nubian man, and at a time of need will carry you on her back, like she has with others who were in need, somewhat like that poem about footprints in the sand. Discover each other and learn to love her, because she is priceless, a spirit of a warrior and a figure like no other, a woman who recognizes her descendants and ancestors. That is a Nubian woman indeed, the Nubian woman I see within me, the woman I came to be. I wrote that poem 22 years ago, and it still stands to this day. So thank you all so much for your time. I'll put my stuff in the chat box again. Thank y'all for the love. Again, my name's Serena, and check me out on IG, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. I'm even on Pinterest. You can check me out. And my social media handles are Divine Right, WRYTE, and Facebook, I'm underneath Serena Wills, and I'll put it back in the chat. But thank you for the invitation, LP. I definitely appreciate this. It's a blessing, and thank you all.
Thank you, sis. That was awesome. That was awesome. Thank you for being here. All right, next up, we got Eleese. So I can't do it. Eleese, there you go.
Hey y'all, good evening. LP LaPonda, thank you for having me this evening. I appreciate you. I've had a crazy day, y'all, but I'm glad for this space to be able to listen to all these excellent writers and just kind of bask in this atmosphere that brings me such joy. So I'm going to do two pieces for you guys. One's an oldie, and one's a little bit relatively newer for me. I can't speak for all women, but I can say for me personally, I have been on a weight loss journey probably for most of my life. You know, I have 4 children. The weight has gone up and down. And really, I've discovered that I used to joke and say that losing 20 pounds was my purpose in life. But the epiphany that I had on this most recent weight loss journey is that real talk, this is a lifelong thing for me. I'm going to have to continually be conscious of my health, my weight, etc. And that's okay. It's something that we have to work for and strive for on a day-to-day basis, or me anyway. Again, I can't speak for everyone. If y'all don't have that problem, God bless you. But that's my story. So I say that all to say this first piece that I'm going to share with you guys has to do with the inspiration I got from my weight loss journey and some of the ladies that I work out with, my weight loss tribe. It's called I Don't Feel Pretty. Pretty, attractive in a delicate way without being truly beautiful. I don't feel pretty. Working my ass off trying to get my health back, yet the scale still reads 220. Trying to get my head right, fall in love with this body type because a bitch ain't never been skinny. I don't feel pretty. Questioning my self-worth, trying to live up to the physical expectation of a white Barbie doll. I ain't white, y'all. A sister been Black since birth. This body holds substance and girth. I don't feel pretty. Mama always said pretty is as pretty does, and I'm not quite sure what that means. I mean, I've been doing what I thought in my head were all the pretty things. Stand up straight, hold your stomach in tight. Don't forget to eat right. If you want to fit in, you got to be thin, and I don't feel pretty. Nonetheless, I'm beautiful, pleasing to the senses or mind aesthetically. Made in his image as him, I see. No longer concerned about the stereotypical hypocrisy, I'm beautiful. Pleasing in the eyes of God, and finally I can strip this facade. I'm a thick chick with a fat ass and big tits. Laughing at how other women get injections to mimic these thick lips, I'm beautiful. Well, maybe not according to society standards. It's a good thing I don't give a fuck about societal norms. I was born in his image. Your image of what you think I should look like is none of my business and irrelevant. I'm relevant. I'm unique. I'm thick. I'm flawed. I'm intelligent. I'm creative. I'm bold. I'm bald. I'm resourceful. I'm resilient. I'm romantic. I'm robust. I'm everything God intended me to be. I'm beautiful, but I don't feel pretty. Thank you. That's number one. All right, the second one, again, as I said, it's an oldie but a goodie. It's actually a poem that I wrote for Mother's Day event that I was a part of with LaPonda. We were both in an organization called Mocha Moms, and they've asked me several years if I would write poems for Mother's Day, but this one still holds true to be my favorite, one of my favorite pieces. So, I mean, it is National Women's Month, so why not pay tribute to our mothers, right? So this one's called One Woman. Proverbs 31:17. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. If I could take on the entire world, I would. My arms simply aren't big enough to encompass all the issues this world has to offer. I'm only one woman. I suit up every morning, wearing the full armor of God, asking him to grant me the strength to deal with whatever issues come my way, trust and believe storm's gonna come. I figure with my umbrella of faith, I'll be covered, able to ward off any and all attacks my adversaries might bring. Quite frankly, with all that power vested in me, I'm usually ready to kick some ass, but let's face it, I'm only one woman. One woman, born into this earth, entrusted by God with his most precious cargo, his angels. So I'll focus on the 4. Now I realize your number may be different than mine, and feel free to fill in your blank appropriately as we all have a job to do. Career title is mother. You know, that all-encompassing position where we strive to be like that Proverbs 31 type of chick, underappreciated for all our endless efforts. But we do get this one day in May. One day to be honored. One day that we're not expected to cook or clean or help with homework, read the disagreements, or oversee science fair projects, or be the nursemaid or the shrink. We get to trade in our diaper bags for Coach bags. We're treated with guilt-free, all-expense-paid spa days. And if you play your cards right, ladies, you might even get a girl getaway weekend. We get to take that lighted beacon off the top of our car and let our mommy cab be an actual vehicle for our own personal use, just for this one day in May. The list could go on, and I'm not complaining, I'm just saying, We have the hardest job on earth, and I'm honored, as I'm sure all mothers are, honored to have the opportunity to shape, mold, guide, teach, be an overall example to the four I adore, the four who gave me this chosen career path, the four who give me purpose, the four who, when I wake up every morning, are the second thing I think of. You see, God comes first. That I pray to him for the guidance I need to raise them and trust and believe storms gonna come. I figure with my umbrella of faith, I'll be covered, able to ward off any and all attacks my adversaries might bring. Quite frankly, with all that power vested in me, I'm usually ready to kick some ass, but let's face it, I'm only one woman. I need his strength to help me raise them up in the way they should go. I'm simply a conduit, attempting to lay the foundation, hoping to move his creations to the next level. That level where their faith is so deeply rooted that whatever issues come their way, they know exactly where to turn for answers. I want my son to plan his course, but allow the Lord to determine his steps. I want my 3 daughters' hearts to be so lost in God that a man would have to seek him in order to find them. I want them to be kind, giving, caring individuals. I want to produce reliable, respectable, responsible, resilient members of society. I want them to be God-fearing beacons of light. I want their lights to shine so bright that they're never caught up in dark situations, cast down like the Trayvon Martins or Michael Browns or Freddie Grays of our world. Sadly, that list could go on and on. God rest their souls. I want them to be educated so they know their rights. And I want them to be humble enough to acknowledge their wrongs. I basically want what every mother wants, the best for her children. I want to equip the 4 so they're ready to take on the world. 4. I realize your number may be different than mine, and feel free to fill in your blank appropriately, as we all have a job to do. Career title is mother. I figure with my umbrella of faith, I'll be covered, able to ward off any and all attacks my adversary might bring. And quite frankly, with all that power vested in me, I'm usually ready to kick some ass, but let's face it, again, I'm only one woman. It takes a village to raise them. And I consider it a privilege to be amongst an awesome community of like-minded mothers getting the job done. Together, we could stomp out wars while bringing home the bacon, breastfeeding, and giving good love. We mothers, we're the pulse. So, if I could take on the entire world, I would. But fortunately, because of the collective army of powerful moms out there who truly hold it down, I don't have to. You see, I'm only one woman. Thank you, guys.
Yes, snap, snap, snap all around. Thank you, sis. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. That is one of my favorites of yours, I will say. All right, next up, we got let me see, there she is. Let me see. And, oh, wait a minute. I gotta remove one pen first, y'all. Boom, I got it. Next up is my Listen to Your Mother DC sister, Rachel.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much, LP, for having me tonight. And just what an honor to be among these amazing voices. I'm just so humbled by your words and uplifted and just feeling so good in such a really tough time in the world. So thank you for holding this space for us, LP, and thank you for all these amazing voices and for giving me a chance to share too. I have a short essay to share with y'all tonight. It's called Grief Lashes Out at the People You Love. I'm stirring a package of taco seasoning into the ground beef on the stovetop, the fan whirring on the microwave above me, my reflection in my peripheral vision bouncing off the front windows as the sun sinks its last weak winter rays. Taco powder flies over the edges of the pan, and I curse silently because I don't have the energy to take out the spray again to wipe down the counter. It's an ordinary Tuesday in midwinter. When I hear my husband making his way down from his office and into the kitchen, I feel rage rise up out of nowhere and crash over me. Of course he walks in when dinner is almost done. How convenient for him, I think to myself. I'm surprised by my anger. Surprised enough that I don't look at him or offer a hello because I'm pretty sure I'll say something I regret. Everything okay, he asks, reading the stiffness in my body. Just tired, I tersely reply, using the potato masher to break up the ground beef with the force of a jackhammer. My teenage daughter enters the kitchen and I can tell she's excited for tacos by the TikTok dance moves she does as she glides towards her chair. Should you be wearing that nice sweater while you eat tacos? I ask with an edge in my voice that could easily slice through a brick. She turns her head sharply towards me, recognizing that tone. The look on her face says, "Don't take your shit out on me." "I'll be careful," she replies, her back turned to me as she gathers her taco supplies, the cheese bowl, the salsa, the pickled jalapenos. "Go take off the sweater. I'm tired of buying you nice things that you ruin with stains." She does not dance her way out of the kitchen. I can't figure out why I'm so mad. My husband's lack of dinner help, isn't it? My family's a scapegoat, but for what? It wasn't until the next morning, sitting at my laptop before the sun came up, that I started to see more clearly what was going on. I was writing about a period of time exactly 2 years prior when I was taking care of my mom who had a progressive neurological disease. That time was full of heart-wrenching loss and deep frustration. My body was remembering this time and those emotions, hence why I was so easily triggered. Though my mom didn't die of COVID, she did die during the pandemic, and it has made my grief feel complicated. I'm grieving her loss, and I'm grieving the loss of all the traditional ways that we say goodbye to the people we love. My mom would have wanted a big party with good food and flowing beer to celebrate her life. Instead, 8 of us, my family and my sisters, ordered her favorite pizza and ate it outside in the freezing Western New York winter night. We weren't a pod and we weren't eating indoors with anyone. I'm learning slowly that I have to give myself even more space and even more grace than I expected. Anniversaries can be a painful trigger that bring the feelings from that time to surface, even if I'm not consciously thinking about it. That night after the taco dishes had been washed by my sweet husband, I went to pick up my daughter from basketball practice. I knew she would be still upset about my earlier comment and turning on her for no apparent reason. I sat in my car in the parking lot, surrounded by other parents in their own cars, catching up on work emails and checking social media or whatever we do on our phones in the endless hours we wait for our kids. I sat with my ski hat on and heat blasting, my own phone tucked into my coat pocket. I stared into the dark and tried to pep talk myself into apologizing to my daughter. I didn't want to because at that point, I still didn't know why I was angry. And so it didn't even feel like my fault. For the good of our relationship, though, I knew it was the right thing to do. She climbed in a couple minutes later in shorts and a t-shirt. I could see the sweat glistening on her forehead. My beautiful girl on her way to adulthood. She deserves a mom who is open about her grief and doesn't shove it away and pretend that everything is fine. I put my hand on her bare knee for a moment and said, "I'm sorry about earlier, babe. I don't know why I'm so angry, but it isn't about you." Thank you.
Oh, that was beautiful, Rachel. I can definitely relate to the anniversaries. And that line when you said my body was remembering, yeah, I feel you on that. Thank you so much. Next up, we've got my sis, Kyoko. Now, let me see. There you go, baby. All right.
All right. Two sides. There are two sides of love. There is the, you released all of the past trauma kind of love. I forgot how my bed felt before half of it was filled by the sound of your snoring, love. I watched love as he laid, comforting the cold abandonment out of my body. I felt release from past lovers. Yes, this is the love I want. I've already forgotten the sound of their voices when I heard your words enter my ears. But there is the other side, with which I wish to erase, not only out of mind, but sight, the hand that lay wounds across my arms, love, as I walked away with you yelling for our love, screaming, the sound trembling, as you ask me why I don't have trust in men. I do miss the good kind of love. Joy was speech in my ears as he serenaded me, the trickle of his words making their way down my spine, as he leads me to his bedroom kind of love. This is a high I can ride into the night with, roll in the dark with his love. But on his off days, his words cuff the sides of my face like water splashed to my cheek from 100 feet. His spit fire from his mouth. It feels like concrete decimating my esteem, makes me cower. I am rubble at his feet. I dilute the bad with excuses he does not deserve. Black love is not laid out in chalk on the sidewalk. It is not sirens through our window panes. It is hand stroking the nape of my neck, wiping tears from my eyes, telling me we will be okay. Reassuring that the light from the sun is not an illusion. It will resurface like the moon, day and night ever revolving, like his temperament. Love is a weapon, snatched hands together in praise, and uses them to coddle your fears from being alone. Love acts like a church to pray in, a revival of something lost. Love is losing yourself in someone's gaze, but not in their love. It can feel like battling demons when resurfacing trauma creeps in through sleight of tongue. He keeps his emotions to himself because that was what he was taught to do. That is how he was made to be a man. That is how he shows his love, to keep his emotions to himself. So when he whispers, I love you, in your ear, lets tears fall from his face, his limbs weak with exasperation from fighting to keep your love, his smile filled with pride while suffocating yours. He is unmasking years of abuse by media who called him a thug and he believed it to be his fate, who let strangers label him no better than dirt. So he lost solace in the shelter of his woman's arms because he believed her a liar when she praised him as a good man, who ran to another to claim repentance for sins he commits against her. Love comes in two shades, passion and attachment. Lust opens us to the promises that are sometimes too hard to keep. And loyalty, which closes us off to others, gives us the urge to fight for commitment, makes us believe we know what love is. The second poem is called Warfare. When I speak about race, you always respond with how uncomfortable you feel. Try to live with it. Try to coat your skin with the discomfort of others, and then walk out the door. Leave unanswered questions in the minds of your children. You throw whiteness in my face, like I should seek asylum in my mother's skin. Try to blend in to the lightness inherited from her ancestors. Ignore the melanin coursing through my veins, like mixed blood is a progressive movement I am privy to be part of, because a select few want to categorize me as other to avoid checking black. My flesh is not a bargaining chip for woke souls to take refuge in. I'm not ashamed of having the blood of a conflict society placed upon me, ingrained with hatred for who I am, garnered hostility before I even walk through the door, because they can't seem to place me on quick glance into one category. I have always been too ambiguous for children to play with when I was young. I just tell my children, this is not your war. This feud was fueled by people who burdened themselves with hate. Do not join the battle. Do not let them hold you under duress, because white privilege is not a gift. Your Blackness is not a curse. Racism is a coffin for those who do not seek redemption. I am the daughter of Black descendants and progeny of white, and a woman of high admonition for race baiting. This is called Nothing Really Matters. I think I was kind of on the same terms as LaPonda. Recently, I've gone through a lot of health issues, one after the other, and all I could think about was death. So this poem is about that. Hence the title, Nothing Really Matters. When I'm gone, all my drafts will be laid beside the trash, clothes thrown into bags by the curb, my memories dissolved within my skin as I decay. When I die, all my possessions will have been for naught, my sleepless nights agonizing over scorn and vain. I've willed my passage to be cargoless, in spite of my children remaining with the burden of my transition, tears melding to their thoughts of me gone. All I can do to alleviate them of sorrow is old photos hidden in the back of the closet and stuck on drives never removed. The scent of me left in the threads of my tops and in the bathroom in half-filled bottles of spray. Through the phrases they find themselves repeating that I once said to them. When I've passed beyond, the universe will absorb my soul. My energy will be dispersed for the others to use. I want more than just a legacy. I want to live a life enjoyed in the spaces of comfort and elation, for my name to spark a new life into people's ambitions. Am I on time? I'm okay? All right. This is called Who. It's a little bit older. Those were written for this particular, but this is a little, it's called Who. Who's that calls my name through brush, through whispers, through taut lips, pursed tight in anger? Whose eyes are that pierce and stare, livid and strong, as they chant through hate through the air? Sorry. My alarm. Sorry. Oh no, I don't know. Who you, who stabs me in the back, who talks big and boasts, who stomps on my hopes, who celebrates my struggle? Why such treacherous actions abound, flourishing on liberties I take in hand, to hold morals on grounds of praise, but you shudder, still, and lay cold in dismay? Who you, that shits on my name, yet smiles to my face with a closed mouth? And this is the last one I have called, it's called Crash. Where are you going, little girl? My body frail, the joints in my fingers and knees buckle in despair, long ridden with the weight of children climbing and pulling, rushing to grow up. Baby girl, my ears are deaf from your screams, begging me to look your way. Look, mommy, look. I hear you humming my name through gritted teeth, spit from your lips, flying out like giggles, creasing the concave of your dimples. Yes, I see you. We both want so much more time because you grow so quick and my body is aging faster. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, sis. Yes. Go off, poet. All right, let me see. We'll remove the pen. Yeah, going through some health changes will definitely have you having conversations with death, thinking about death, what that's all about. All right, on to the next. We have author Z Knight. There you go.
Can y'all hear me?
We hear
Okay,
you.
awesome. So thank you so much, everyone. This is my first literary cipher. Thank you, LP, for inviting me. It's just been amazing. I'm going to offer something a little different. I'm not a poet. I'm actually a romance author. So I'm going to try to, introduce you to some of my writing. This is actually not a romantic piece that I'll be sharing, but it's part of a Mafia romance series that can be pre-ordered. If you can see on this cover, called Vicious Heart's Desire. It's coming out V-Day next year. So this is a sample of a manuscript I'm working on right now. Chapter 6, Ransom. Bloody lacerations crisscross the unknown wizard's burnt brown skin, neck bent at an unnatural angle, as if someone had tried to snap it in two and failed. Ransom's lip jerked upward, disgusted by the mess of blood, bone, blood, and misplaced organs splattered all over the alleyways, brick walls that used to belong to a human. Who the hell is this, Ren? Ransom squatted down so he could better feel the resonating energy left behind, in search of its owner. Are you sure you want to know? Ren asked. He pulled out a cigarette and lit it with 2 snaps of his fingers, shaking off the smoke generated by the spell. I'm not here to play 20 questions with you. You dragged me out here to look at a slashed up wizard for what? It's got to be something important. He used to be someone important enough to bring me here. Spit it out so we can get back home to... His voice faded out, aware that prying eyes and ears could be nearby. They were in the heart of the paranormal club scene in downtown Seattle on a Friday night. That meant one of the songs or crosses lackeys could be nearby, so they had to be careful. Ransom lowered his voice. Who is it, Ren? You're looking at none other than Moran the Magnificent, former Grand Wizard of Seattle. Ren replied nonchalantly, as if he hadn't just dropped a bombshell on Ransom. The warlock's eyebrows furrowed, standing up and turning so he was facing the living wizard. Ransom look of utter disbelief slowly morphed into rage. Ren whispered into Ransom's ear via magic, still a good foot away from the scene of the crime. Well, what's left of him, anyway. This is Moran, the Grand Wizard of fucking Seattle, with his guts spilled all over the place? You've got to be kidding me. Ransom scoffed. He couldn't believe that anyone would be so bold to decimate Seattle's leadership overnight. He was even surprised anyone or anything was strong enough to do it. But Ransom was looking at the proof. The smell alone would follow him for months. Yes, touch the half-drawn seal on the wall, written in blood. It's his mark, his magic, and his downfall. He couldn't complete it in time. There's no doubt it's him. But what we need to figure out is who did it, when, and why. Ren was right. The distinct yellow ore radiating from the butchered corpse along with the symbol carried his signature. Now that Ransom knew it was Moran chopped up and smashed to the ground, it was undeniable. Do I look like a detective to you? Ransom bellowed, unable to hold back anymore. It's none of our business. Case closed. So we're just going to leave him here like this? Ren asked, aghast. Shouldn't we call someone? Nah. Ransom shook his head after a long pause. Let's leave those grisly bastards to take care of this for now. Keep it between us magicians until we figure this shit out. And at least we got here before Reaper. Wait a minute. Isabella probably already knows, which means shit. Let's go. Not so fast. Why would they provoke us this openly? For what? It's rare we ever get too involved in paranormal affairs anyway, Ren said, stepping closer. Besides, Ransom, we can't leave a power vacuum throughout the entire West Coast. You know as well as I do how bad things got before you took over Detroit as Grand Warlock. Ren made a good point, and Ransom didn't have a good answer for him. Unlike him, Ransom didn't assume it was some fuzzy scumbag, winged freak, or undead monster that did Moran in. It was more probable that another magician had killed him. But why? There was no rhyme or reason to the sudden assassination of an infamous magician mob boss, who was more concerned about working human politicians and drug connections than whatever age-old feuds of mortals, magicians, and shifters had going on in the region. His death could very well be the catalyst that sparked the paranormal war, if it wasn't extinguished sooner rather than later. Ransom knew this, and he didn't care. It was for Seattle's underworld to figure out. It didn't concern Jade, Ren, or him. I don't know why, Ren. Honestly, I have no fucking clue. But I don't want to be around here if whatever got to Moran is still out here too. And just as fast as he appeared, Ransom disappeared in a cloud of purple smoke that left behind the faint scent of burning ashes in his wake. And that's a wrap. So that's my little sample of my upcoming work. And I put all my links in the chat, Authors Unite, and pretty much everywhere. Also a link to the pre-order if you're interested.
Ooh, sis, that sounds like a movie. Just left me hanging. Like, who did it? All right, thank you. Next up, and last but not least, we're gonna have Queen Sandra Wilson come through and close us out.
Okay, I'm going to try to bring it in strong. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you just fine.
Okay, all right. I have 3, and what I want to do is, the first one I want to do is something light, then something heavy, and then something historic. You ever go into a room? I know every time there's a gathering, often there's some woman that comes into the gathering who has like the sun that shines behind her. There's a lightness about who she is. And it doesn't always have to be the most beautiful woman in the world. It can be the spirit, the soul that she brings into the room. And so I wrote this poem about a woman whose name literally was Classy. So I want you to think of her as living in like the 1940s, right after World War II. So think of her in this kind of garb. This is called Remembering Miss Classy Mitchell. We smile when we remember Miss Classy Mitchell, an example of a life that was purely beneficial. When Classy Mitchell walked by, the entire room would smile and sigh. Just the plushness of her skin made grown men want to sin. Her hips moved evenly from east to west. Her beauty forced women to bring out their best. Encircling her head were magnificent loose curls that framed her lean face in lingering swirls. Classy's heart and hearty laugh could fill up a room. As she passed by, she out-aromaed any French perfume. Oh, and her soul just exuded a stylish kindness that bypassed her features and confirmed her fineness. But Classy was not about herself and her looks. Oh no. Her talks had proved a love for good books. Some folks even said she was as smart as a whip and was always ready to add a meaningful quip. She befriended the women with gifts and her smiles. She'd stop by their houses just to talk for them for a while. They'd laugh and pray and sometimes have tea. Classy made sure that each was at peace and independently free. Well, although Classy has left and is gone from us now, thoughts of her still linger in our hearts somehow, yet she was classy. That's what she was for sure. For Classy was classy to her very core. Ask anybody you knew who knew her, and you'll see it's official that we always smile when we remember the divine Classy Mitchell. Okay, this one is, I'm a painter too, I'm an artist. So I kind of bring in my music and my painting and my writing into this particular poem. It's called The Painting Calls Me. The painting calls me to my canvases to escape into the landscape of acrylic crusading characteristics trying to save humanity's sanity about art. I want no fame from this mundane critics who might classify me as insane as I reach beyond presenting safe, directed, protected, and respected images. Like a runaway train veering off the tracks of hacks who back up accepted and protected thought, my rejected route is often unexpected. The painting calls me and says, I dare you to reach out, to teach and beseech the unknown, not the preached standard of what is represented or cemented into someone else's reality. Sometimes my corrections placate and duplicate the mandate, but sometimes my off-the-chain art forms bypass the norms to seek a society that perceives demonstrative comradeship in a creativity that is hopped up and pumped up on what is trumped up reality long gone. That is not me. Copied photography is a step toward creativity, not the final art form. I acquiesce to the brilliant stimulant of those who master their own creative fate. But the painting calls me, and I must insist that the art is freedom to state, debate, and not subjugate free choice. Picasso changed. He rearranged his what was to his what is and what could be. Grandma Moses didn't let age deter, neuter, or defer her intent to offer a pearl into the world. I'll not bear shackles or be tackled by minds and imprisoned with visions. My flowers may not look like your flowers, even after hours of trying to get them there. That is not to say that someone else's creativity, believability is not right. Once upon a time, men painted these things and women painted those things. Flowers are not always the same. The painting calls me and scares me sometimes with, be you. Make no excuses for what you see to be a tree. What you create comes from your fate, your love, and even your hate. Use them to be smarter about illustrations of vision. Trust your heart and depart with pride about what you lay out for the world to see. Be bold as you earn the tags, older and wiser. And then you can say, let me share something special with you. I hope you see what I see too, or at least try to find in it something new. The painting calls me. Yes, it calls me. And when I hear it, I simply must obey. This is historical. I don't like to think of slavery, people in slavery. I like to think of them as prisoners of war. After they were freed, a number of the women had to become entrepreneurs. This is about a group, some people went in to become beauticians and things of that sort, but these women were washerwomen. And so when they were freed, that's what they did. That's how they made their income. And they were called washerwomen. Well, this is called laundresses. In 1880, there was a strike of the washerwomen, especially in Atlanta, and they almost shut down the whole city, but they needed to make a better livelihood. So this is really dedicated to them, because when I was a little girl, I'm 77 years old. So when I was a little girl, my aunt and my godmother had laundry services in their houses, and people used to come in and bring their baskets of clothes to be cleaned. And so they would have friends working for them. So this is from that point of view. It's called the laundresses. My Aunt Nancy spelled her name Nanc with an E. She was both an employer and an employee. Her days were laundry-based with business tactical nights. She wondered and worked hard to make sure that all her workers got their rights. Now separate the whites and put the darks in those baskets, and don't overload the machine. It will surely blow a gasket. Put all of those colored pieces in one of those piles and stop checking on the items according to their styles. Mrs. Murphy's clothes are right over there, but Mrs. Kane's special order is back there somewhere. Just make sure that those two are separate. Keep them apart. Come on now. Get to stepping. We have to work smart. On the shelf is my special detergent, the soap. Yes, the one that I make. I even barter that soap if I can get a good trade. Keep the garments tossing and turning, because in no time at all, the 8 loads will be done. Sarah, would you get that call? Make up that starch for Mrs. Cannon's man. His shirts have to be stiff and white as they can. Look in the icebox. Take them out right away. Sprinkle, press, hang the shirts, and don't play. Hey, Elsie, change the water now and rinse out those stains. Francis, that bucket is heavy. Don't get the back strains. Turn that handle slowly and crank that ringing dowel. Wait. Is that the dye from Miss Crandall's red towel? Gotta rush up a bit. Come on, Lucky. Lucy, Francis, Elsie, Louise, start the ironing right now, and no gossiping, please. Girls, did you hear about the brand new handsome man? Yeah, he was so cute. He looks like his skin is the color of sand. I heard tell that Mary Louise just had another set of twins. What? She surely needs clothes for those kids and a lot of safety pins. Well, did you hear the solo that Pastor asked Mamie to sing? It was awful, all out of key and everything. Miss Nancy, the sheets are ready for the mangle. Louise, come over here and help me get out this tangle. Where's Mrs. Lear's stuff? It has to get that ready. She's pulling up right now, walking all unsteady. I guess she had too much of her favorite red wine. Wonder why she drinks so much. Her clothes are sure fine. Please go out and help her up the steps, Mabel. Hurry, Louise, and get her stuff off the table. Finish up the ironing and get away from that door. I'll deal with her. You know she'll be trying to take a tour. Corral her in the living room right now, right away. She's so nosy and always has something negative to say. Good afternoon. How are you today, Mrs. Lear? Your clothes are all ready. They're all right here. Here's your receipt. Everything's written down, and thank you. Oh no, not next week. I will see you in 2. Well, ladies, it's getting dark and everything is done. Thank you for working hard. You always make it so much fun. Go on home and get some rest. Tomorrow's another day. No worries, it's Friday. Yes, you will all get your pay. As the ladies depart in different directions, they laugh and they hug and exchange some reflections. From a day filled with washing, folding, and pressing, thinking, thank God for this job. Miss Nancy's a blessing.
Love it. Loved all 3. Thank you so much, Queen. See?
Thank you. Thank you for this
That
opportunity.
That was awesome. All right, everyone. Let me change my view so I can see all your lovely faces. So that is the conclusion of the Literary Cypher March. Thank you all so much. I don't think y'all realize how therapeutic it is when I host these ciphers every month. I need them. I'm gonna tell other people need them. So I just want to thank you all so much for being here tonight, sharing space, sharing your words. I'm truly grateful. I usually keep the meeting open for a few minutes in case anybody wants to stay on the chat. So if you guys want to, I have a few minutes for you guys to stay on. Please don't forget to put all of your links and all your information in the chat, cash apps, whatever. So make sure that people is able to reach you so they can bless you, buy your books and all that good stuff. I think the next one is April 19th. I don't know, last month I gave the wrong date. Month before I gave the wrong date, April 19th, but don't quote me on it. I'll post it in the group just to be sure. But you all have a great night. If you got to hop off, take care. Please be safe out there. And peace and blessings, all. Everyone unmute. Give yourselves a round of applause. This was awesome.
Thanks so much.